Happy New Year, everyone. What a happy start to the new year it is too. Guys, I've been working my ass off. You can tell from the weather I got a day off today. Don't put fire towers up in the wet weather, of course. But I'm also taking advantage of the next 2 days off. I've got a written permission booked from tomorrow onwards. So yeah, afternoon's priority is getting my gear sorted for that. I'm going to take you on a little tour of the garden in a second. The main thrust of this video is going to be me talking about just the situation we face with deer and hunting at the moment in Australia. There have been some interesting developments in the last 12 months. And just in terms of moving forward, I've got some thoughts to share on all that. But first, let me just show you some things about the garden. Yeah, now I got a few random emails from some people saying, how on earth did you manage to afford a property in the Blue Mountains? I can't afford shit. I'm a renter. I'm very lucky to be able to rent this property. I don't really have the mandate to do anything to the house. It's fine as it is, it's very homely. So what I have been able to do though is work on these garden beds up here, start improving the soils, and the whole idea is just to get a garden that complements the hunting and the fishing side of things. It's small steps in the direction of food self-sufficiency. There's a lot of learning to be done this year, but the aim is to be just replacing certain food sources I use all the time, like potatoes, carrots, onions, that kind of thing, but also with a mind towards pickling and preserving to keep me going through the winter time. So yeah, let me take you on a little tour. Don't worry guys, I'm not going to turn this into Gardening Australia, but there's been a lot of fun learning going on here, you know. Zucchini crops going bonkers, that's great. Cabbages, they bolted. Hasn't ruined the whole thing, but I had some kimchi planned to make from this and the carrots. Carrots are going fantastically. Onions, they got smashed in a storm the other day. It's just, it's fun to empathize with how farmers feel, particularly when, you know, the weather affects my work. There's like rains for a week, no work for a week. That's an issue. But also what that does to the plants and just living according to nature's rhythms. Being nature's bitch, basically. But peas, yeah, some of them died off. One plant just went bananas and had more than I could handle. This afternoon, planting a pumpkin patch. Summer's a great time to do that, and that will hopefully be a late autumn to early winter harvest. Been trying to get some sense of rotation going here. This bed's being rested, but will hopefully be for winter veggies. Got the corn here. Corn's doing well in the soil. The zucchinis don't like it. Yeah, got the spuds growing in pots here. I've been growing them staggered in such a sense that this pot should be harvested at the end of January, hopefully. End of February, mid-March, and then maybe just before winter time I'll get the third one going. Capsicums aren't happy. It got too cold late November, early December. We were still having bursts of frost, which was freaky. I've got their cousins, the chilies and the jalapenos. They planted them just after the cold weather we had at the start of December, and they've just been doing fantastically. Little one there, planning on pickling those ones after I've enjoyed a few fresh. And a big box of coriander and thyme, which are my favourite herbs. I did something a bit interesting up on the top paddock up there. I'm going to show you what I got up to a month ago. Now, farmers would probably cringe if they saw this, and I don't think this will go to air unless it turns out kind of successful, but there was a whole bag of wheat from some health food website on special, and I thought, my mind just started working at a million miles an hour. I thought I could grow some wheat. I think, well, cereal crops, that's a bit full on. It's a bit more than I'm bargaining for, but then do we need that much grain in our diets? Maybe we need less. Maybe I'd actually value grain and where it comes from if I put some work in. This is more of an experiment than anything, but I'll make a few loaves of bread, make a bit of pasta, and I'll make some beer if it all works out. Well, this is a beer job, I think. I want to say a big cheers to all of my viewers, subscribers, and especially my patrons. Guys, I want to thank you all for sticking with me whilst this last 6 months has been pretty low on content. Thank you very much, and things are back on track. Just to kick off 2019, I think we all need to just approach our hunting this year and well into the future with a very intelligent and strategic mindset. Guys, I value hunting so much. If that's not obvious already. But I mean, like, it's everything to me. And I'm sure there's people that I'm speaking to out there where hunting means the world to them. And it's not like, oh, you just want to go out and kill animals for fun. Bullshit. We know it's not like that. We know that there's so many different reasons that we chase game. And it's just core to our understanding and meaning in this world and our, you know, the strength of our existence. We've been faced with some political issues lately, particularly surrounding wild deer in Australia and New Zealand, particularly about tahr in New Zealand. that leave me just a bit concerned, and I really just want us to sharpen our mindsets on it. I know there's a lot of mixed opinion within the hunting community as well as society in general about these matters. But basically, we all got notified recently that deer are now a pest for 3 years in New South Wales. I believe it will be more than 3 years, in my opinion. I don't see the reason why they relaxed that. But basically, all the traditional safeguards or restrictions on deer, like season, you couldn't spotlight them at all, no baiting, they've been lifted. You can't spotlight on public land, and you never will be able to, and never should be able to. But basically, they're treated no different to a pig or a goat now. And I'm not saying that's completely wrong. I'm just saying that there's a lot of implications for that. Because it's not just New South Wales that's been copying it. In Victoria recently, there was this millions of government money just splashed on this attempted helicopter cull in Mount Buffalo area, Alpine National Park area, just spots where they thought that the stalkers weren't getting to. Hunters in Victoria, the last time there was a survey, were recorded as having shot more than 100,000 deer in a year. 100,000 deer in a year. That's enormous. That's enormous. And they're trying to go about it with helicopters, which, as we as deer hunters know, trying to shoot Sam deer from helicopters is a wasted effort. It's just stupid. But there are far broader reaching consequences for this kind of thing. It's not just about the deer being alive or dead. This came to a head for me last February. A hunted fallow with the hill dog champion that he is. He had been down to a block down the Snowy Mountains, New South Wales, and this is after the regulations had been lifted, so we could shoot them in February. And it opened my eyes on a lot of things, and we both had a conversation. We realised that things have come to a head. I'll just leave a bit of footage with you and see what you guys think about it. Them doing this has opened up the debate about just deer in general, just what they should be classed as, you know, acknowledging, yes, we all know that deer actually do have an impact. And like the only people who love them are us. Like hunters are the ones who love them, and farmers can be 50-50 when they realise that a manageable amount of deer on their property is worth a bit of money, and
they are manageable.
They are, absolutely they are.
Just gotta have a good crack. No, that's why it's up to the stalker to do his bit there, yeah.
Well, absolutely. The reality of Australian hunting is that they are animals that have to go and can't be let to go out of control. And the thing is, the deer has to be shot anyway. You can't just leave them in there to just graze, and because they're only worth their existence in Australia, really, if they're getting shot eventually. Because if they're just out there by themselves as fauna, they don't serve any purpose because they're not a native animal. They shouldn't be there anyway.
That's right.
And one really interesting thing about that example was, for the amount of deer we saw, the apparent lack of trophy animals, as in good mature stags, or bucks, sorry. It was a fallow area, but what does that tell us? The area is mismanaged. The area was vastly overpopulated with deer, but it wasn't a deer population in any form of balance. I mean, people had been hunting there. People hunt the Snowy Mountains area all the time in a big way.
She'll go alright.
And a lot of them are going down there and getting their buck, but they're not managing that population. Good on ya.
Ticking goals with like fox and dog bounty, even though fox bounty's bugger all, but
it's still something.
It's something.
Yeah.
Especially a dog for $120.
Just acknowledging you as a hunter are very valuable right now.
Yeah, so go and shoot a few more.
New Zealand. The opportunity to hunt Himalayan tahr in New Zealand is an amazing one, and a very rare one. And with New Zealand's liberal hunting laws, it's something that a lot of us can access. It's incredible. There's almost more tahr in New Zealand than there are in the Himalayas. Overpopulated feral animals are a problem. I completely accept that. And if you've got an animal which is a feral, but is also valued, well then management is the common sense answer. All of a sudden, New Zealand hunters wake up one day to find out that there's a plan to try and completely eradicate them with helicopters from the alpine tops of the Southern Alps. Out of nowhere. It can just happen like that. Now, I'm not saying that tahr don't need to be controlled, but all of a sudden, basically was saying that the opportunity to hunt tahr and the value placed upon tahr by hunters is next to worthless. Those are the kind of rude shocks that we can get used to unless we start sharpening our mind on this issue. Now, Clark McGee, from Queensland, heads up the raw ballot up there, from Wild Country Outfitters, a big name in the Australian hunting world, experience in New Zealand. Anyway, he had some very nuanced and smart commentary to make on his YouTube. You can find it on his Facebook page too, just in response to the plan, or the attempted movement to bring about state forest hunting in Queensland. And he's like, well, I have reservations about this in the sense that, are we just part of an extermination movement to try and wipe out feral animals wherever we can find them? Or, when it comes to things like red deer, do we have enough value on them that we want to keep them as a hunting resource into the years to come? That doesn't mean that we don't manage them, that we don't try to bring them to lower numbers that are kept in check. But the fact that you want to hunt is good enough reason to have some of them. It is. Your lifestyles matter. They do matter. And in small, manageable numbers, they don't impact upon agriculture or the environment too much. In fact, whatever small impact that they might have when they're in low numbers is negligible compared to how valuable your lifestyle is as an outdoors person, as a hunter, as a fisho, any of that. That matters. It matters to me, it matters to you, and if it does matter to you, well shit, we've got to get smart. And we've got to address these questions with a level of complexity that I'm just not seeing it. I don't see it from our governments. I don't necessarily see it from the hunting community at large yet. We just can't take things for granted. Jeez, we're spoiled in this country in so many different ways. But if you care about something, guys, I value deer. And I advocate that we manage them hard so that we can keep them. We'll only be able to keep deer in the long run and keep our lifestyles as hunters in the long run if we manage our resources carefully. That doesn't mean open slather and, oh, it's a deer, kill it. No, it means that, shit, we've got a population that's too heavy here. We need to hit the female population hub. We need to kill those, which are fantastic eating. Lower populations make for fantastic antler growth in our stags that we so love. It also means that when we've got smaller populations of rarer deer, like the odd population of chital about the place, my local red deer, which I care about so much, I'm not going to bomb them up because maybe 1 out of 4 or 5 days do I actually even see them. Guys, I think the crux of what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of these issues could come to a head. And basically, if we keep going along the paths of governments attempting eradication programs, it leaves us high and dry. It basically says that hunting is not a legitimate pastime. We're one of the only Western countries in the world that has that problem. But seriously, it's like we're either some kind of warriors on the path to some kind of attempted eradication, which is not possible. What about the fact that it's just totally fine for us to value small, low to moderate, high quality deer herds that is a great resource for us, that does not impact on farmers, that does not impact on our environment? I mean, our value of these animals still matters. And if we want that value to be respected, geez guys, we've got to take responsibility for them. We've got to manage them. And, you know, in the same sense, I'm not saying just go out there and shoot all of them. I'm saying use a management mindset, be intelligent about it. Where the numbers are too high, yes, get them down. If you've got any access around the Illawarra, lucky you and good on you, yeah, do your bit to try and get those hind numbers down. Next time I go out red deer hunting though, I'm not looking to try and kill anything I can, because that population does not bloody well need to be managed. I mean, if I can only see them 1 out of 4 or 5 days hunting, what does that tell you? That they're an unbelievably low impact, that the Buddha, the forester, or the ranger is more of an impact on the bloody bush than they are, but they're still highly valued. Hog deer, apparently now a pest technically in New South Wales. We don't even know if they exist. But if someone did know if they exist, if they exist in New South Wales, would they tell anyone about it? No. Why? Because they value their existence. If our resource is getting out of control, guys, well, of course something's going to be done about it. Let's not let it get there. Let's manage them. Let's go into 2019 with an intelligent approach. An approach that prioritizes, I don't know, the longevity and the survival of hunting as a recreational lifestyle in Australia for years to come. Think about passing it on to your kids. You know, think about also the way we're portrayed to the general public, not to the antis, not to the bloody animal rights activists. I mean, anyone who's spending their time online picking on vegans and stuff like that, guys, you're wasting your time and effort, and you're not an asset to us at all. Mind you, if you're someone who's talking to reasonable everyday people who maybe aren't 100% sure about hunting, maybe not too comfortable with guns, but hey, donate them a bit of venison. Share some of that out. That's a fantastic ambassador for our sport. Guys, from my end, I'm not out to start shit fights with anyone. I am out to make some very positive and encouraging Aussie bush harvest. And you know what? If I come across larger deer herds this year, geez, I'm going to have to bomb a few of them up. Let's keep our good times natural, guys. This lifestyle is too important to lose.